So how did the opposition rise so quickly, so efficiently? Because we handed them the keys. Our own elites, driven by greed and guided by short-term gains, invited them in. They discarded foundational principles. And the enemy walked right through the front door. The collapse of the quasi-convertible Bretton Woods system triggered a series of butterfly effects that reshaped global markets. Nixon's exit from the gold standard wasn't just political, it was a stopgap for obligations that could no longer be met. In its wake, major investment syndicates developed an insatiable drive to open new markets at breakneck speed, regardless of consequence. Intellectual property, once guarded as national treasure, became collateral in a race for scale. Long-term strategy was sacrificed for short-term profit, and in the process, emerging powers gained access to technologies never meant to leave sovereign hands. Our own capital class, the leeches of our economy, breathed life into a homogeneous, state-controlled workforce of 1.4 billion, a population offering zero-sum trade benefits, all at our expense. The result is reflected in an insurmountable debt load and an asymmetric global order. Can we still regain ground against this rising adversary while holding on to our remaining leverage as nearly 30% of the world's consumption and waste engine? Possibly, but only under a revolutionary shift that prioritizes shrinking government, eliminating waste, and re-establishing trade reciprocity. We must restructure our economic mainframe by fully leveraging energy independence, enforcing territorial realignment, and protecting national interests from neighboring actors who have compromised our prosperity through predatory contracts and unbalanced demands, draining our military resources with no equitable return. We face a dire necessity to deploy every available asset to counter a terrorist influx that has breached our southern borders, poisoning our society with drugs, violence, and insatiable greed. Yet, at the core of this hostile machinery is a common thread, its fingerprints traced through Mexican factories, Panama's trade channels, and all linked across that vast, beautiful ocean, to our greatest geopolitical rival. They pursue raw power, we, by contrast, strive for the navigation of civility, decency, and peace with God at the helm. To rise again, we must reverse engineer the wasteful deep state apparatus, one that champions entitlements, mismanagement, and cultural sycophancy over merit, results, or meaningful progress. Their strongest weapon is the algorithmic media loop, a perpetual cycle of narrative control, serving their interests while turning the social zeitgeist into our greatest liability. Those not deemed useful to the broader cause will see their freedoms quietly stripped, written off as expendable amid a more sophisticated and coordinated call to arms. The true conflict now echoes in the shadows, a global struggle for dominion over high-speed data, escalating exponentially within an unforgiving technocratic battleground. Vying for precious resources on the global stage may soon require a recalibration of labor itself, a shift toward a more controlled, compliant workforce engaged in rudimentary, repetitive tasks, exchanged for access to alternative energy systems where traditional infrastructural investments yield diminishing returns. This dual-purpose approach serves not only to maintain operational efficiency but to confront the rapidly expanding global mental health crisis, which increasingly correlates with surging crime rates. Legacy safeguards, once legislated to uphold global oversight and human rights protections, may be strategically offset by redefining supplemental housing and nutritional baselines under the guidance of multinational entities like the World Health Organization. Simultaneously, economic anchoring strategies are likely to be reassessed by the United Nations Development Programme, which oversees development across 170+ nations plagued by regional violence, institutional corruption, and geographic instability that hampers foreign investment viability. As the need for traditional bureaucratic structures fades, the world will increasingly rely on advanced machine learning repositories capable of outperforming human cognitive faculties in scalable problem solving. Within this framework, mental illness and criminal deviance can be reclassified and addressed in tandem through cyber-regulated, productivity-based housing infrastructures, facilities that may permanently redefine how we understand criminology and industrial labor. This is no longer speculative. The experimentation required is not theoretical, it will be born of pure necessity. As the global order fractures and reforms in real time, what lies ahead is not merely policy evolution, but a tumultuous struggle for life itself. Thank you for watching. Good night, and good luck.